everybody. My name is Sandra Sheffer. I'm the president of the Democratic Women's Club of Greater Broward. I have the opportunity to be with, to talk to Frantz Jarah McLawrence. Full disclosure, I've known him since we were in law school together, so I've known him a very long time. And I know him to be a very competent attorney, and he practices law in Broward County, Florida. I'm gonna have him introduce himself to everyone, and today we're gonna get educated on the judges that are running to represent, to be judges in the county court and circuit court of Broward County. So go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what your experiences are, and then we're gonna go ahead and then start this conversation about the judges that are running.
Okay, great. So good afternoon, everyone. As Sandra mentioned, I'm Jarah McLawrence. I'm an attorney in Broward County. The crux of my practice, the major part of my practice is criminal defense. I also do some personal injury and some first-party home insurance claims. I've been an attorney here in Broward County since 2003, so we're talking about 17 years here in Broward County, with my base anyways in Broward County. I've practiced all over the state. I ran for judge in 2010 and again in 2014. I'm a former public defender. So in full disclosure, as Sandra said, I tend to be biased, more biased than not, for those candidates that come out of the public defender's office because I'm more familiar with what we went through as public defenders. And I'm more closely affiliated with those candidates than others. But I try not to let that completely prejudice me against other candidates, but I just want to be completely transparent. Additionally, I also want to be completely transparent and inform the viewers here that lawyers by rule are limited in the things that they can say about judges. The Florida Supreme Court, for some reason, the Florida bar comes down hard on lawyers when they criticize judges. So even though we fight for everyone else's First Amendment rights, our First Amendment rights are curtailed when it comes to criticizing judges. Meaning that
we're not here to criticize. We're here just to educate and inform, right? To just give some information. The information that we're providing is public record. It's just a matter of, people just don't have the opportunity to, either appear in front of them or attend all of the other forums that these judges voluntarily participated in. So the information that we're going to provide today is stuff that they provided to clubs and organizations. They answered these questions. So we're not going to say anything outside of information that wasn't already provided to the public.
I'm gonna say they're terrible. That's what I'm gonna
No, we ain't gonna say they're terrible. We're just gonna be like, just be a little careful of certain records, because one of the, because we're in the middle of a reform right now, right? We're trying to set up a criminal justice system that could be fairer to more people and more inclusive of more people, because the criminal justice system tends to be extremely black and brown, even though the county isn't 60-70% black and brown, but that's who makes up the criminal justice system. So we want people who are going to be in, not only judges, but even the ones that are running for state attorney, public defender, for the sheriff. We want to be real careful about who we vote for, because we're like in a very pivotal time right now, I think, in American history, that we really can see a lot of change. We can see a lot of progressive people on the bench. We understand that judges' positions are nonpartisan, so it's not about like, oh, they're going to do something for a Democrat that it's not going to do for a Republican. That's not what this is about. But we need to be careful and make sure that these judges' records are that they're fair and that they don't have biases that are coming out in the courtroom when they're making sentence determinations. Is that a way to say it? It's like when they're deciding how to sentence people?
Well, all that being said, but we all know that judges don't leave their biases and prejudices at their homes. They bring it with them on the bench, and too often it affects people of color. So in as much as I can, quote unquote, keep it real, I will.
Yes. Yeah. So we're going to keep it as real as we can. And then, I have some opinions. I don't know a lot of the judges because I mainly practice in immigration court. And that's why I wanted to speak to someone who is familiar, with Broward County and a lot of the ways that Broward County works. I have appeared in some of the judges before, mainly when they were on the bench doing family cases, because I do some family law cases. And I also used to take some of my students when I taught at a different university, not the one where I currently teach. I used to take my students in the bond court in order for them to observe trials. And, maybe sometime if they allowed us to go in to see jury selection, I would take them in. So I've seen some judges in limited roles, not in limited scopes. And I've also done some coverage work. So I've appeared in front of some of the judges, not all of the judges that are running, just a few of them. So, but I wanted someone who has more of an experience there that would be able to speak on that, because I didn't want to take on a task that I wasn't fully qualified to do all alone.
Sure. So just one more thing.
Yes.
I am in Dominica in the middle of the West Indies. So from time to time you hear some chickens in the so, I try to mute my mic as much as possible, but if that happens, that's why it's happening.
Let it be a real experience. Let it be a real experience. That's awesome. And it's interesting you say that, right? Because we are in the middle of a pandemic. And so what court looks like is very different right now, right? Than what it was like before March. And I actually had a family case with a judge who she really handled the whole thing extremely well. So because they're doing some of the hearings by Zoom, and uncontested divorces is one of the cases that lends itself to be done well by Zoom, right? So you would think. But then, we have some clients that are very technologically challenged. And so, you have someone coming in a video sideways or whatever, but it just so happened that the day I had that hearing with that particular judge, the lawn person was there, right? And so we're doing this hearing, and then we see the guy cutting the grass, like walking by. So it's like all of this sound on top of clients who don't know how to use the phone, who don't know how to use the Zoom, and we have the interpreter coming in sideways, and and so it was just one of those experiences. So the fact that you're gonna have it's gonna be a farm behind you when you're you're doing this, that's okay, because most of us are working from home because we're trying to be safe. And so so I have twins in my house, so they may come down while we're talking, and you might get some of that noise too. So it's all good. It's definitely all good.